Hey, good people. Welcome to Melanated Vibrations, a new show that celebrates the diversity and richness of Black culture. Join us as we delve into our individual mental health and overall mental health of our community. From the latest trends to the timeless coping mechanisms, we'll showcase the best of what it means to be mentally healthy. So sit back, relax, and get ready to feel the vibrations of Black excellence. Let's get started. Hey guys, happy Monday! Welcome to Melanated Vibrations, hosted on the Big Exclusive Network. I am your host, Dominique. I hope everyone had a great weekend. I don't know about y'all, but that daylight savings thing, baby, messed me up. I had to manually change some of my clocks in my house, so it just kept throwing me off. I'm like, wait, we are a whole hour behind where we are supposed to be. Yeah. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. Tonight is a really special episode for me, a really good episode. And so drop in the comments how your weekend was. What did you do on this beautiful Monday? Was it busy? Was it overwhelming? Did it set the precedent of how the rest of the week is going to go for you? Let me know if you guys are in the comments. If you are on the stream, make sure that you share and then make sure you tag your folks in. Tonight, we are going to talk about men's mental health. I know a lot of times on this show, it seems that a lot of topics are general or they're more geared to women because there's 2 women hosts. But tonight, I want to talk about the men. I want to talk about the mental health aspect for men and particularly for our Black and brown men. So if you are in or watching the show, make sure you tag your folks in. After I set my intention, I want you guys to do that as well. Set your intention. I am bringing into this space gratefulness. I am very grateful. I had a really bad car accident Sunday morning, like 2 a.m. And so if you look at the damages to my car, I shouldn't even be sitting here with you guys. So I am bringing gratefulness into this space because it was very bad. And I walked away with no bruises, no concussions, nothing broken. I lost my baby. Had my car for 7 years. But that is what I'm bringing into this space is gratefulness. I am grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to be on this side. You never realize how quickly life flashes before you until you're in the moment of something. So I'm very grateful to still be on this side with you guys, giving you guys melanated vibrations. Mondays at 7 p.m. So I'm very, very grateful. That is what I'm bringing into the space today. So we're going to get started. Again, we're talking about men's mental health. So I want to show a video that I saw. Hey, I ain't dusty today. Hey, Big Exclusive. And listen, hey, and listen, I ain't put no earrings on or nothing because I was just so excited to get on here. Thank you. So I'm going to be on here putting my earrings on because I still got to be cute for y'all, okay? Thank you, Big Exclusive. I appreciate that. Thank you, Hannibal. Yes, it was a very traumatic experience, very scary. The older you get, you're good in that moment, right? Your adrenaline is pumping, you're fine. That next day, you felt like you was in something, car accident, a fight for your life. I don't know. So when I tell y'all my body is hurting every which way, and I already had like back and spinal issues from a prior accident where I got rear-ended years ago. So it's like, it didn't help. And then it's cold outside. But again, I am grateful to be here to share with you guys. So we are going to get started. Make sure you are tagging your folks in if you just came in. Share the stream. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Make sure you are sharing the stream. So this evening, we are going to talk about health, mental health for men. So they say that technically June is Men's Mental Health Month, but November, because it's November, is Men's Mental Health Awareness. So it's called Movember or something like that, where basically this month is to help men not just focus just solely on their mental health, but to also make sure that they are checking on their whole body health. You know how I feel about that, guys. And so with Movember, it is more or less an awareness month for men to focus on raising awareness for things like prostate cancer, testicular cancer, or any other health issues that men suffer from. So this month, this November, is dedicated to all the men that are out there. As you can see, I got the green lights in the back because, again, Mental Health Month, the ribbon for mental health is green. So had to set the mood and go and put the green lights on for y'all. So I want to get started. Let me share the first video about mental health and how it impacts our Black and brown men.
Question I get all the time is, why don't we talk more about mental health in the African American community? And there's a lot of different reasons as to why we don't. But one thing that we can do to get the conversation going is by sharing our stories. And here, former Titans and Bengals player Pac-Man Jones does exactly that.
I'm open about my story because I want my kids to know. Right. I am bipolar. I didn't find out until 2000.
So one question I get all the time is, why don't we talk?
So I see your comment, OG. Of course, it's for the Eagles, duh. But I don't want to talk about the Eagles game because I was out there tailgating yesterday, okay? And I was stressed out. So I don't want to talk about the Eagles, okay? Let's just leave that there. It is for mental health. That is what it's going to be for this evening. That game was very stressful. And if you are a dedicated Eagles fan, like I'm a dedicated Eagles fan, then you was probably out there pulling your hair and screaming and yelling and everything else that you could think about. So that is the first video. Why do we not talk about mental health in the Black and brown community? As you know, it comes with a stigma. So let's talk about what is mental health. As I've told you guys before, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make health choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. So, Black and brown folks, if you raised in the same community, I feel like even though we may not know each other, we were all raised. We have like this shared foundation of being raised in the Black and brown community. I've said this to you guys before. It is not something that is talked about in the Black and brown community, and specifically for Black and brown men. Like, it is really hard for Black men to come out and talk about mental health. It's just not a thing. It becomes a thing where it's like you're weak or you don't want to be vulnerable. So men don't talk about mental health. So I want to dive into that and figure out what are the causes of mental health issues in men. So studies say that mental health is a topic that has long been stigmatized. We know that. And because of that, many people have been silenced because of mental health and mental illness, because of the stigma that comes with it, particularly for men. But the reality of it is that mental health issues are prevalent and impact individuals from all walks of life, regardless of gender. It's not a woman thing. It can be a man thing too. It's a person thing. Men are less likely to seek help for mental health issues, which can exacerbate their symptoms. So men that do not seek help, men do not seek help, unfortunately, because like OG said, there is a expectation that is placed on men. So let's talk about some of the masculine norms. So when you think about like America or just here, right? You think about Western culture. American men are subjected to a culture where standards of masculinity are literally killing them. Literally killing them. One of the factors that contribute to the underuse of seeking professional help is masculinity norms. So, a masculinity norm is something that's like a social rule, and it's an expected behavior that is associated with men and manhood within a given culture. So, traditional masculinity is a subset of masculine norms that insinuates certain expressions of masculinity and invokes some men's power, dominance, and privilege over women and some men. Now, toxic masculinity closely aligns with certain expressions of gender roles that amplify existing power structures that favor the dominance of men. Toxic masculinity may lead to difficulty in expressing emotions, which is often seen. So, if we evaluate the expectation of boys, there is a lot of aggression and violence, right? Like for those that are boy moms, boy dads, boys are taught to play rough and are often allowed to kind of break some rules. And then there's a phase that goes out that says boys will be boys. So then we normalize this notion, and it causes these masculine norms, which unfortunately, if not addressed early on, can lead to worsening of depression and anxiety, abuse of substances, greater health issues such as cardiovascular or metabolic diseases, issues with dating and interpersonal intimacy. I know I talk a lot about that on this show about interpersonal skills. Those are the relationships that we have with the people that are in our life. So that starts from with your parents. Your parents are supposed to be your first level of what love is or what love should look like. If it does not start there, unfortunately, as you grow up, you begin to form your own definition, good, bad, or indifferent, of what you believe it love is and how that looks and how it shows itself. Increase in overall psychological distress, discouragement in seeking help, and homophobia. These are things that come out of the masculine norms. So, what do we do about this? How do we address it? I agree, OG. We have been poisoned. Men have been poisoned to think that they're weak at a very early age. So men or boys, right? A lot of times you hear a lot of people say, men and women, because I've heard it on both ends. So I won't just put it on the moms. But if you have a son and your son is crying, it's like, stop crying. Like, you're a boy, you ain't no little girl. Like, stop crying. Why do we do that? Like, what is that about? He's crying because he got tear ducts. Like, God created him with tear ducts. He should be able to effectively express his emotions. My son, I agree. I completely agree with you, Luke. And after I finish this thought, we're going to get on that too. Why do we do that? Why do we tell our little boys that they can't cry? So then little boys can't cry, then they internalize everything. And now they're holding everything in. And now when people are holding things in, it's only so much a person can take on emotionally before they snap. So now you have this little boy who's never been allowed to cry or effectively express himself when he's, and this is the thing, crying doesn't make you weak. People cry when they're sad. People cry when they're angry. People cry when they're frustrated. Hey, Hannibal. Men cry. Like, men cry. So then when we have little boys and we tell them that it's not okay to cry, they grow up to be teenagers who unfortunately act out because they have no safe space to express their emotions. Or the little boys that act out, to turn into teenagers that act out, to turn into grown men that are still acting out. And so Right. And it creates a sense of not being able to handle your emotions. Absolutely, OG. And so now you have this man, this little boy who was a teenager, who's now a man who cannot express his emotions. He does not know how to effectively communicate. He does not know how to use his words. Some men, as we know, where do you think domestic violence comes from? For those men, and I'm not saying women don't abuse men, because they do. It's a lot of women out here that do not know how to keep their hands to themselves. But for the men that unfortunately decide to act out their emotion by physically abusing or going to go commit a crime or just being a person that just effectively cannot express their emotions, it's sad, because all we do is tear down our community. You look at it this way: with all of the killing, for those that are from Philadelphia, all of the killing that is happening in Philly, you have young guys that are literally killing each other, people that look like them, over territory that does not belong to them. Or we in the club and y'all having a staring contest. Like, y'all paid $20 for the females, $40 for the men to get in here, for y'all to stand on the walls and stare at each other because nobody wants to have fun. Or, oh, you stepped on my sneaker, so now I have to shoot and kill you. Because these are people that were never taught how to effectively express their emotions. It's unfortunate, but that it is what it is in the Black and brown community. To Luke's point, there is no safe space for men. I've said this before on Facebook. I remember being on a Facebook post, and I think somebody asked about women, or asked the men, do they feel safe talking to women? And I think I've said this on the show. A lot of times as women, we do not create a safe space for men to have these conversations. Everybody talks about being somebody's peace and, oh, be this man's peace. But if this man can't come home and have a conversation with you and tell you about his day, if he can't rant and rave or whatever it is that he's trying to do, and we begin as women to try to analyze and think we have to have an answer and try to solve it, just sit down and shut the fuck up. I don't think that's what he wants you to do. I don't think he wants you to try to figure it out. What I think he wants is for someone to listen. So a lot of times in society, we do not create safe spaces for men to talk about their mental health or their mental illness. The video I just showed, football player who probably for a really long time didn't understand why his moods were high and lows, or why he had his manic episodes or his mania episodes. So later find out that he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And now he's doing something about it because he wants to be the best father that he can be. I think that when we sit down at the table and we begin to have those conversations about what mental health looks like and what it looks like for our men, the same way we talk about what it looks like for our women, I think a lot of times, I just saw this podcast that for Black women, we show up, or it seems like we're angry about something or we're overly aggressive, when really it just may be our anxiety peaking. I think the same grace that women are given, or sometimes the lack thereof, is the same grace we need to show to our men. That men are allowed to have a bad day. Men are allowed to not feel their best. You are allowed to wake up and be like, you know what? I ain't feeling this shit today. Like, I ain't got it in me. Don't nobody say nothing to me. Leave me alone. I'm gonna go sit in the corner. I'm gonna listen to my music. Whatever it is. I think that the more we begin to have these type of conversations about what mental health looks like in the Black and brown community specifically, we know that there's a bunch of injustices that happen in the Black and brown community that unfortunately prevents us from getting the necessary, or Black men specifically, the necessary help that you all need. We know that, unfortunately, poverty is one of those main reasons. Trying to get good insurance, trying to find a therapist that looks like you, someone that you can relate to. There is a shortage of Black and brown therapists out there. Finding somebody that you can trust. I always say that if you cannot find a therapist or you're not comfortable, then you find a person, a family, a friend, somebody that you know is genuine, that's not going to be on the phone like, child, let me tell you what OG told me. No, let's not do that. That is a whole other thing too. That when people decide to confide in us, or specifically men, that we don't need to get on the phone and tell our good girlfriends. We don't need to go and put it on social media. Let's stop doing that. Let's allow people to have a safe space to talk to us. I don't know if you guys saw the video or heard about this video, but I'm gonna play it. It was actually about a black man on 95 who threatened to throw his baby over the overpass on 95. It was very sad. I will say that I do mentally, I do think that something was wrong with him. It was a really big, like I seen two different views of it. Like somebody driving by recording, because of course, why wouldn't you drive by and record, right? They were driving by recording, and the one police officer had his gun drawn on the guy as he was holding the child. The mother was sitting there pleading with the cops, but also like trying to get her daughter, trying to, black women, right? Coming to the rescue again, trying to not get this man shot, but at the same time being a mother and understanding that this is my baby that this man is holding. I agree. Can you put OG's comment up, please? There's occasions where it's recognized later on, so men don't open up to women. I agree, OG, and that's very unfortunate. I think that is wrong. Again, if you are supposed to be this man's piece, or this person is creating a safe space for you, or they say they're creating a safe space, ladies, if men tell us something that is near and dear and personal to them, we should not then try to flip it and use it at the next argument. And that, Q, the hoops that they have to jump through to get services is absolutely ridiculous. The amount of places that have wait lists. Not one grain at a time, Luke. First of all, rice ain't that hard to cook. Agree, we do. We have to stop being our own worst enemy. That is our problem. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I think we have these conversations all the time where us as Black people, we are separating ourselves. That whole like Black love and all of that stuff, it sounds great. It sounds very cliche, but then we get into these partnerships, these relationships, these marriages, whatever your preference is, and we do exactly what OG said. We weaponize what is being told to us. So, excuse me, the next big argument that we get into, now we out here talking about something. That's why your mother ain't never love you, and she did it. Wait. Whoa. Told you that in confidence, sis. Don't throw that in my face. I think a lot of times when people get mad, they do not know how to fight fair. And I'm not saying it is the easiest thing, but if this is a person that you say you love or you care about, then you got to learn to curtail your assaults, right? When your verbal assaults. Because some of us is like machine guns with the mouth. You get us mad and we just going to run it off, okay? It is a whole shootout with our mouth sometimes, women. And sometimes we say stuff and then we can't take it back, or you try to apologize for it and it's like, you said it already. It's really no apologizing for something that you already said. So I think that is also the barrier of why Black and brown men decide that they do not want to share those things with us. So I'm going to share the video from the guy on 95. I want you guys to tell me if you've heard about this. What do you think? It's a very sad story.
Information now on a terrifying incident on I-95 where a man allegedly threatened to throw a baby off an overpass. Investigators say 35-year-old Raheem Murphy drove his ex-partner and her baby against their will to I-95 in Northeast Philadelphia yesterday morning. He then allegedly stopped the car and threatened to throw the baby, and then threatened to shoot a bystander who tried to take the baby to safety. Murphy is also accused of assaulting and injuring a state trooper before finally being taken into custody. He is now facing numerous charges, including kidnapping, aggravated assault, and assault on a law enforcement officer. Murphy is being held on $1.5 million bail.
1.5. My. So here we are with mental health. I don't know what was going on with that man, but for you to get in a car with you and your ex-girlfriend or girlfriend at the time and then threaten to throw your kid off of 95 because you guys got into a disagreement. Agree, Q. Hurt people definitely do hurt people, like they do. Can we put it my sister's comment back up, please? So you get rid of soft niggas because and that's a great point, sis. Shout out to my sister in the comments. Told you she's taking a sabbatical, but she makes sure she still shows up and support. Grad school's kicking her ass. And so is work. So she is going to be out for a little bit, but you know, we'll be here when she is ready to come back. So thank you, sis, for tuning in. I agree too. I think that whole soft nigga or soft guy or you too soft mentality is also what drives men away from wanting to even effectively express themselves. Like, we don't have to have the hard guy all the time, ladies. Like, it is okay for a man to be in tune with his emotions. It is okay for a man to be able to effectively use his words to give you something other than, oh, I'm good, or I'm all right, or I'm okay. I'm good, I'm all right, I'm okay is not a feeling word. I want you to be able to tell me how you feel and use a word like, you know, I feel angry, or instead of having a mental illness. Agree. That's the part, OG. There, you see, they set his bail insane. Like, he's not going to get the help he needs. He's just going to be a criminal. And especially since he tried to, you know, assault the officers. Like, that's probably really why his bail is so damn much. It probably ain't got nothing to do with the baby because he black, the baby black. But that's a whole nother conversation. Can you put Royalty's comment up there? I was trying to read it, went by a little quickly. These are facts, Royalty, and it's unfortunate. I hear that so many times from, there we go. Now I'm a little lighter. I hear that so many times from a lot of men who say that they do not have a safe space to talk to their partners. Then it turns on, I love a man to sit down and talk to me. Exactly. For us women out there that are in tune, not get rid of the whole culture, OG. I don't know if we can just, well, I mean, y'all trying with this whole, not y'all, but you know, the ones out here just killing recklessly is trying to get rid of the whole culture. I hear that a lot from men, that they have no safe space, they have no one that they can talk to, and so then they lash out, or they act out, or they talk to the bros. But it's like, how many men are truly willing to open up and talk to their guy friends? How many of you guys are really willing to be vulnerable to your guy friends, or cry in front of them, or scream, or punch a wall, or whatever it is, however you express yourself? How many guys can honestly say that that is something that they do, where they are able to like go to that one guy friend and really tell them how they feel? Or do you guys feel like a part of you holds back? Do you guys have friends in your life, male friends, that not only create a safe space for you, but that you create a safe space for? I think that this is not something that was taught to us in the Black and brown community, hence why we're so destructive towards each other. Because if we just used our words and talked instead of killing each other or brushing it off or just letting it build up, I think as a race we would be a lot better. Now, I'm not a Black man. I am an African-American female, a Black female, so I can only speak from the female perspective. If any men in there want to give their comment, Shannon can drop the link. You can come on in and talk about your experience of what it's been like to be a Black male, any mental health that you've suffered from, depression, anxiety, anything that you just felt like you couldn't really talk about. I'm cracking up. Don't you got homework to do? You don't got no homework to do? Because you and this OG gonna have to get the word, what they call that thing, trademarked. He gonna have to get the word dusty. That's good, OG, that you have a few friends that you can talk to. And it's always good to have that village. Struggle. And it is a struggle. It's a struggle to start the conversation. It is a struggle, not reading the book and listening, not trying to multitask. It is a struggle to find that safe space. It is a struggle to get men to effectively, again, use their words. Saying that I'm good or I'm okay or am I right is not a feeling word. I need you to tell me you're overwhelmed. I need you to tell me you're sad. I need you to tell me you're frustrated. I need you to tell me you're angry. I need you to tell me you're excited or you're happy or, whatever your feeling word is. I always have my clients, hey, Deandra, I always have my clients when I start my therapy sessions is I print out what's called a feelings wheel. And it comes in this really big wheel. It's really, really pretty with a bunch of different colors. And there we go. See, Big Exclusive is on it. So this is one of my favorite tools to use. As you can see, the way you use this is you start in the middle. So you start with those 7 words. And say if your word is angry. Just say that's how you're feeling. You then go to the second layer. And then you pick a word from there. So then you go from anger to maybe you're feeling let down. So then as a therapist, I would say, okay, so what I hear you saying is you feel angry, you feel let down. Can you give me one last word to describe how you're feeling? So then maybe you go to that last outer wheel and you say you feel betrayed. So then we would dive into those 3 words. So I hear you say you feel angry, let down, betrayed. And so if those are the words that you gave me, I may not start with angry because anger would explain or is a reaction of possibly being betrayed by something or someone. And because they betrayed you, it sounds like you were let down because you had high expectations for this person, place, or thing, which caused you to feel angry. That is how I would digest that with a client. If you said that you felt happy, tell me another word from that. Oh, well, I'm happy. I feel powerful and I feel valued. Wow, those are really great words. And I would do the same even with angry because in order to tell someone that you feel angry, let down, and betrayed is different than walking into a therapy session and just saying like, I'm okay. You see how different that is? Okay does not describe to me what that means. And so you walk in, you're angry, you're let down, you're betrayed, or you're happy, you're powerful, you feel valued. So then I would say, well, tell me what you feel valued about, or what serves you, or what makes you feel valued. Like, tell me the situation. And then we would talk about it. And then you would tell me, oh, well, this happened at work today, or this happened with my friend, or whatever. Oh, so it sounds like based on this event, you felt powerful. You felt like you were on top of the world. And then they'll describe that. And then, okay. And so that powerfulness caused you to feel happy. And so for me, I think this is a great tool for people to use so that you can effectively describe how you feel. I think it's really hard when if somebody is creating a safe space. And that's another thing, right? We got to stop saying we feel good, we feel okay, we all right. Let's stop lying. If we ain't with it today is not a good day, or if we're angry or fearful or surprised, then let's say that. Thank you, Big Exclusive. That was perfect. Let's say that. Let's begin to use our words. We cannot expect someone to just know what's going on in here, because what goes on in here affects what goes on out here. And so if we're having a bad day, let's tell somebody we're having a bad day. Let's not allow that bad day to just stay in our heads. And now, and as I always use the word intrusive thoughts, let's not allow those intrusive thoughts to now multiply. And now we have more and more and more intrusive thoughts in our head. And so now we've created, again, I tell you guys, I do this because I suffer from anxiety. We create scenarios that have not existed, did not happen, probably not going to occur, but we create these scenarios in our head. Because instead of us being able to just tell somebody, hey, good morning, how are you today? Oh, I'm good. You're not good. You're not good. And I'm not saying that you go to work and every person that asks you how you feel, you be like, man, let me tell you. No, that's not what I'm saying. I told y'all, find y'all trusted person that you feel comfortable enough. A couple of guys in the comments said they have a couple friends that they trust enough to have those conversations with. And you got to find more of those people. Even when communicating, like Royalty mentioned about, even that's a struggle in communicating. Let's get past the good, okay, I'm all right. Let's start saying, I feel surprised. I feel let down. I feel angry. I feel powerful. I feel empowered. Whatever those words are. I'm not saying you got to walk around with the feelings wheel in your pocket, but I always challenge you guys to learn more and more and more and more and more about how to effectively express yourself. Everybody else knows how to express themselves. We as Black people have to learn how to effectively express ourselves, and especially when it comes to one another. Both men and women, but I'm on the men tonight. Ladies, we have to learn to create a safe space for men to talk to us. A lot of times what happens is we're stupid. I'm going to just call a thing a thing. Women, sometimes we're stupid. And when I say that, this is what I mean. Your man, your friend, your husband, whatever you want to call him. I ain't really into titles either, so I get it. Your person will come in after having a bad day, and they'll be telling you a story. And then you stop listening because they said something that was triggering to you. Or y'all do a little dumb jealous shit. Like your bae came home, told you how Susan pissed him off because she was holding up the damn copier, and all you heard was Susan's name. You have tuned out everything else your partner has said because now you out here trying to figure out who the hell Susan is. It don't up the copier all damn day, and he couldn't get his reports out to turn it to his boss, and now his boss is on his ass, and now his boss is yelling at him, and now his boss then gave him a corrective action. But all you heard was fucking Susan's name. Ladies, we gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop doing that. We gotta stop doing that. Sometimes it's okay to just listen. I tell you guys all the time, there's a difference between hearing and listening. What we do sometimes with our men is we hear them, we hear just enough to respond. We don't listen to process. So you hear what you want to hear in that moment, then you get triggered, and now that's how arguments start. So you heard what you wanted to hear. You did not allow that man to talk. You heard what you wanted to hear. You interrupted that man. Okay? Because that's what comes next. I know. I've been in a relationship. I know how this works, right? So now we've interrupted this man. So now you've knocked off his train of thought. So now y'all done switched the whole damn conversation to something that we weren't even talking about. You weren't talking about that. Again, we don't care who Susan is. What we know is Susan held up the damn copy and he was mad about it. And so now we have interrupted this man who has waited all day to come home to what is supposed to be his sanctuary, what is supposed to be a safe space for him. He held us in all day to come home and to talk to us. But we heard what we wanted to hear. We weren't listening. We heard what we wanted to hear, or we're preoccupied, or we on the phone with our girlfriends, and we think that being on the phone with our girlfriends is more important than taking a moment to sit down and listen to what your man is saying. Yeah, basically, sis, shut the fuck up and listen. It's I wasn't gonna say it like that, but there we go. Agree, OG. That kind of goes along with what? This must be an inside joke. I'm just saying, Susan. She just, it was either Susan or Karen. I didn't want to go that far. Y'all like to cancel people. But now we aren't listening, ladies. We heard what he said. We're not listening. Now we're interrupting. So now we done knocked off his train of thought. So now because we've interrupted, now he got to defend what we're questioning him about. Something that literally has no relevance to any of this. And so now the argument has ensued. Okay. And so now we're going back and forth. Most arguments lead to one way. We argue. Now we both have shut down. Either the woman is going to say something slick out her mouth. The man's going to say something. Now we're hitting below the belt. I'm a firm believer, and this is how I argue. I do not hit below the belt. because I do not apologize and I do not believe in apologies. I've told you guys this. I know that's my toxic trait, whatever. Charge it to me and my heart. I don't care. I don't like apologizing. So I never try to hit below the belt for something that I'm going to have to apologize for. So now what was him coming and telling you about his bad day has now turned into an argument about absolutely nothing. And so now he has shut down. You have shut down, and he never got a chance to finish venting to you, who was supposed to be his partner in his safe space. Now, I'm not telling y'all what to do in y'all relationships. I'm just telling y'all my experience, i.e., being in a relationship in the past and being a therapist. And the stories that I hear from men that come to therapy. The stories that I hear from men that come to therapy because of their partner. The stories that I hear from men who unfortunately are still suffering from some type of childhood trauma. They did not have the mother that was loving and open and showed them affection and love. And so then they grew up to be men that didn't do so well communicating with other parts of their other interpersonal relationships in their life. Women that are mothers of boys, you have to be able, I agree, OG. You have to be able to create a safe space for your boys while they are young. They need to know that they can cry, that they can be angry, that they can be afraid, that they can feel powerful or empowered. We have to start while they're young, because all they do is grow up to be men that do not know how to effectively express themselves. They do not know how to, effectively communicate. And so then we get mad when they're trying to have a conversation or we say something and they shut down. They never learned how to communicate. My son, I don't know if y'all know zodiac signs. My son is a Libra. My son is very emotional. I am not, I'm not an emotional person. That's just not who I am. Being my son's mother has taught me to be emotionally available to my son. I agree, OG. Right. It's not demeaning women to just be quiet. Not the side chicks. I'm not going to agree with that. I'm not going to agree with that. But my son is very emotional. He cries at the drop of a dime. I don't know what I did when I was pregnant, but that is just, that's just who he is. Right. And so as the mother that I am, hey wife, as the mother that I am, I'm like tough around the edges. I am hardcore tough around the edges. That's who I am. But what I've learned as being a mother to a son whose love language is things like physical touch and he wants to express himself all the time, I've learned to create a space for him. Because what I do not want is for my son to grow up and beat on women or be out here fighting or just in trouble all the damn time because he don't know how to use his words and express himself. Does it help that his mother's a therapist? It does. But even if I wasn't a therapist, this is still something that is important for me. So I encourage all of the women out there and even the men. You got little boys, don't tell them to toughen up. They don't got to toughen up. They little boys. Let them be little boys. Okay? Let them cry. It's okay. If they cry here and there, it is okay. We do not want to be out here raising pit bulls, okay? No disrespect to the pit bull owners. I don't need y'all canceling me. I love pit bulls. I think they're amazing dogs. They just get a bad rep. But y'all understand what I'm saying. There's a lot of things about pit bulls. They're aggressive. They're this, they're that. We are not raising animals, okay? We are not raising children that were raised by wolves. It is okay to show your children love and affection. Ladies, it's okay to show your man affection. Men, it's okay to be there for your bro. It is okay to be a safe space for your bro to call you and talk to you about. It is okay for you. It should be okay for you to call your bro and talk. We have to do better within the Black and brown community. We can't scream Black Lives Matter and the only time it matters is when a police is killing us. It has to matter all the way around the board. All of our Black and brown lives have to matter in every aspect. Our mental health has to matter to us. Creating a safe space for us has to matter to us. The conditions in the homes that we live in, the neighborhoods that we live in, what is allowed in our neighborhoods have to matter. The money that circulates within our community has to matter. Support more Black businesses. It's so many Black businesses. And yes, some Black businesses, trust me, I understand. You just want to burn the whole place down. I get it. Sometimes customer service isn't there. But all Black businesses are not the same. Some Black businesses are 10 out of 10 on the customer service, the cleanliness, what they provide. And so we as Black people have to learn to support each other, to be there, to listen. I think I do a very good job of creating a safe space for my friends. Sometimes I try not to be the therapist friend because that can be very overwhelming and draining. Does it happen a lot? Of course it does. And I listen, because what I don't want to do is the time I decide not to listen and you really needed me, and then I'm getting a phone call that you either tried to harm yourself or you were successful at it. So I always try to make sure I create a safe space for my friends. Great point, Luke. A lot of times our Black and brown men move out of emotion, and not the good emotion. They move out of anger. They move out of frustration. They just want to get their lick back. They want to slide down on their ops. Why do you niggas don't got ops? You don't have ops. You don't got ops. Stop that, please, Black people. Stop that. You don't got ops. Never heard a white person say they had ops. I just never heard it. But when you move out of emotion and rage and anger, then you make a decision that is going to possibly cost you your life, cost somebody else their life. And when I say cost you your life, either 6 feet under or in prison for the rest of your life. You're behind bars. So we have to do better as a community, as a society. But we also have to learn that men suffer from mental health the same way women do. And we have to start creating a space for them to be and to express themselves the way that they deem necessary. So, how to talk about mental health with other men? Talking about mental health can be uncomfortable, as we've all kind of figured by now, and it's even taboo for many men. However, it is critical. It is very critical that we break down these barriers and have open conversations about mental health with one another. By talking openly and honestly about our mental health struggles, we can help to create a more supportive community for all men. One way to start the conversation is by seeking a trusted friend and family, like we said, and for those that said they have that person, and sharing your experiences. Valuing others' feelings and experiences is vital. If somebody is willing to open up to you, if a man is willing to open up to you, that means that he trusts you. And if he's willing to tell you his experiences and his feelings, don't laugh. Don't be dismissive. Don't cut him off. Just shut the fuck up and let him talk. Offering support and resources when possible is also critical. By taking these steps, you can work towards a more open and accepting community where mental health is treated with the seriousness and the respect it deserves. And that's a whole other, that could be a whole other hour conversation, OG. Making up a term and then running with it. Y'all know how I feel about terms and when they're not used correctly. Y'all know how I feel about that. That's why we had that whole. And that's another thing, royalty, right? Sometimes men just need to vent to us. We don't got to understand what's going on, ladies. We don't have to be the Inspector Gadget. This ain't got to be 50 Cent 21 Questions video. We don't need to ask nothing. Y'all be wanting to know the who, the why, the when, the where, the why, who did it, who was all there, what they say. Let that man tell you what he want to tell you and be quiet. Let him express to you what it is that he wants to express. The more you are available to your partner, to that man in your life, I don't care if it's your brother, your son, your father, your uncle, your partner, your best friend, whomever this man is in your life, the more that you are listening and not just hearing. Okay, let me say it again. We have to stop just hearing enough of a conversation to rebuttal. How can you rebuttal if you have not listened to the entire conversation. You don't even know what you're responding to because you cut them off mid-sentence. We have to learn to be quiet, even if we don't understand what's going on, even if the story don't make sense, even if it's all over the place, even if that man is so overwhelmed with emotion, or he's so passionate about what he's venting about that it kind of seems like, all right, babe or dad, bro, they don't really, it don't matter if it makes sense to you, if you understand it. What matters in that moment is that you are available, that you are emotionally available. The moment we become emotionally available to men, then that is when I think more men will begin to take mental health seriously. I think that is when mental health will become the stickler in the Black community. There's so much stigma and stereotype about why Black people don't go to therapy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna drop my last video, and it's a good way to lead into it.
Get away from that shit for a minute. One of my favorite lines in the album is where would say, you really need to go to therapy. And I say, real niggas don't go to therapy. Because that's how niggas feel. You know what I'm saying? We grow up where our parents don't know about that. Our grandparents don't know about that. You live and you experience the shit that you go through and you deal with it right then and there. Or you don't never deal with it. We learn to hold all our shit in. Shit, we keep 100 with you. That wasn't my forte when people mention it to me. You know, I'm still stuck. My pops think fucking get therapy for. To challenge myself to go to therapy. Shit, that's like a whole new step in a whole new generation. It's a growth. Yo, bro, get away from that shit.
Go to therapy. Find you somebody that you trust, that you can talk to, that you feel comfortable with. Again, there's a stigma in the Black community. There's a stigma in the Black community that like, oh, you're crazy, or just go to church, go pray on it. And listen, I'm not taking nothing away from the religious and spiritual, let me not say spiritual, the religious people out there. Okay, so don't come for me. I was born and raised in a church. My father was a pastor. Got all of that. God created therapists. Okay? Shut up, OG. Don't cut me off. Let me talk. Okay? But seriously, like, ladies, if you're in the midst of having that conversation with whomever that important male is in your life, and you feel like you want to make a point, but you don't want to forget your point. Again, sometimes we don't always need to make a point. Sometimes people just want to vent and talk to us, and we don't actually have to say anything at all. But start the conversation and maybe ask, like, hey, excuse me, I want to make sure that not only am I emotionally available for you to have this conversation, but that I'm physically available. Do you want to just talk about it? Do you want my input? Let's start asking permission before we just start giving people advice on stuff. And this is me as a therapist. I don't give advice to my clients. I don't believe in it. I give suggestions, because at the end of the day, this is your life and you have to do what is best for you. Now, I can provide you suggestions to guide you to maybe a different route, a different coping mechanism, or, you know, a different skill set of how to maybe respond or how to deal with the trigger. That is what I do as a therapist. You guys don't have to be therapists to do this. If someone wants to have a conversation with you, that is very crucial and vital that you ask, hey, do you want to talk about it? Do you want my input? And it's okay for you to be on the other end and be like, you know what? I don't want your input. I just need you to listen. Now, if they want your input, you can say something like, you know, I want to make sure that I'm hearing what you're saying and that I'm responding correctly. Do you mind if I take notes on my phone so that I don't forget what it is that I want to say to you? And be on your phone and take notes if they say, okay. Don't be on Instagram scrolling. Don't be on Facebook watching videos. If you tell somebody that you are going to physically and emotionally be available to them, then be just that. Sit with your posture open. Don't sit like this and like this and like this. I wouldn't want to talk to you like that. Sit with your shoulders even. Sit with an open posture. That is how you know, or someone can tell that you are receiving what it is that they're saying. For the men out there that are struggling, where you do not have a safe space, I do encourage you to try therapy. I know that in our community, it is not the easiest topic and conversation to have. Again, I tell you guys all the time, you can go on Psychology Today. Psychologytoday.com is a really great website. They have so many other like websites that they're coming out with. I think if you go on Google and type in like blacktherapist.com or something like that, I think that's the website. If you type it in or just type in Google like Black therapist and you do near me or whatever, or call the back of your insurance card, see what's in your area. I think that it is crucial and it is important for us to start talking, start a dialogue, have a conversation. I know the barbershop is like the barbershop is therapy for most men, right? You guys, you go in there. I'm so sorry to hear that. Wait, is that a shot at me, Luke? Wait a minute. Is that a shot at me? But I know the barbershop serves as a safe space for men. I take my son to the barbershop, even though he has locks, he still gets his shape up. And I hear some of the conversations that happen in the barbershop, and I know most of the conversations are tailored and they're not the true authentic conversations that happen in the barbershop because I'm a woman. So out of respect, they don't have certain conversations with me there. But I've seen like those podcasts or like those recordings of the conversations that happen in the barbershop. And I think the barbershop is a really good place for men to come and be their authentic self. What I will say to that is at some point you have to leave the barbershop. And so when you leave the barbershop, where do you go after that? You got to go back into society. You have to go home. You have to go to work. You have to engage with other people. And so while the barbershop may be, I don't know how often men go to the barbershop. Is that like a weekly thing, bi-weekly thing? I don't know. Y'all know how often y'all go. While yes, it is a great space for you guys to be vulnerable and to share, I think it's still a very limited space because here we are with a bunch of men who may not know how to effectively express themselves either and may not give you the best advice. So I strongly encourage that if you are feeling overwhelmed, anxious, depressed, whatever it is that you're feeling, if you're grieving, if you're still holding on to things that may have happened to you in your childhood, it's that you seek therapy. It is nothing wrong with therapy. I know in the Black and brown community, it is such a stigma with us that you got to be crazy, or again, like I said, oh, go pray about it, or, you know, things like that. I'm not saying that prayer doesn't work. What I'm saying is God created doctors and lawyers and therapists and all these other great careers and professions we have. And so find you someone to talk to, someone that is going to be non-judgmental, someone that is going to be genuine, somebody that is actually going to listen and not just hear you, somebody that's not just waiting for you to be done so they can respond. And again, ladies, because I'm targeting y'all tonight. Whoever that man is in your life, just listen. And this is the thing. Again, we don't always have to respond. Sometimes they just need us to be quiet and just listen and let them vent. But you will know that you truly heard what someone says because as soon as they are done, you don't got to jump right in and try to solve everything. So if I'm venting to you, and as soon as I get done talking, you be like, well, I think, we didn't ask you what you think. Don't start off with, well, what I think. Be there and listen and ask at the end of that conversation. You seem very blah. Whatever emotion they've described to you, you just feed it back to them. You seem very overwhelmed about that. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry you felt that way. Find a way to validate what they are feeling. Do not be dismissive about what a person is telling you ever. You have so many people that commit suicide and they just were smiling and just happy. The signs were there. The warning signs were there, but we weren't paying attention because we weren't listening. Or we just thought like, you know, they the strong friend. They fine. Like they gonna shake it off. Check on y'all strong friends. Okay. I'm the strong friend in my group. Okay. And I have my days. And I'll be like, I'm gonna just stay in bed today. Okay, pull these blackout drapes. Don't nobody call me. I'm gonna put my do not disturb on, and I just want to be left alone. There's nothing wrong with when we're not even getting a cut. Exactly, because makes sense. Sometimes you guys just hang out at the barbershop just because it is a safe space for you guys. But outside of that, and that's a good step, OG. Let me say that. That is growth. That is growth. Again, if you have a trusted friend, if you're just not at the stage yet where you're ready to seek a therapist, have a trusted friend or a family member, someone that you know is genuine, who's not going to get on the phone as soon as you're done and spread your business. Find that person for you. Women, other men out there that are listening, be that safe haven, that safe space that other male needs for you. This is the only way our community is going to survive, is if we stick together and if we listen. Not here to respond, but listen to process. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into Melanated Vibrations. I'm going to go take a Motrin and get on the heating pad because my body is killing me. But make sure you tune in tomorrow to the big exclusive podcast on Tuesdays at 7, where, big exclusive, Angry OG and Top Flight, where it's guaranteed to go left. We just never know what we're signing up for when we tag in. And then you're going to jump over to Thursdays to the Ant Money Experience. Ant Money is actually looking for a host, a co-host. So, if you got the time and attention, and if you pass the personality test here on the BEN, because you got to go through all of us, if we like you, then you can come onto the network. I'm just kidding. It all goes through Big Exclusive. And Tiffany and our president. Thank you, Royalty. Thank you so much. No problem. Absolutely. I have to acknowledge you guys. This show is not just strictly about the women or just general conversations. I want to let you know, men, specifically my Black and brown men, I see you guys. I hear you. I'm always an ear away to listen. I love you guys. If no one has told you that today, I love you guys. Please stay strong. Do not give up. Do not give in. We need you here on this side. We need you to be the strong Black men that y'all are. Okay, we need y'all. We need y'all to lead us. Okay, so don't go nowhere. Y'all stay here. Find you somebody you can talk to so you're not holding it in, so that you can stay on this side with us. I love you guys. I love you, love you, love you guys. That's between y'all. I ain't got nothing to do with it, Royalty. You just got to make sure that your internet ain't in Ghana. You got to make sure that you just saying, respectfully. But I do. I love you guys. Even Royalty. I know. I'm always throwing pop shots at him. But I do. I love you guys. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the big exclusive podcast. Thursday for the Ant Money Experience. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.